Donc chacun des 5 ateliers passera à l'écran et vous allez nous montrer un peu qu'est-ce que vous avez fait pendant cette longue semaine. Vous nous montrez les PowerPoint, vous nous expliquez un peu quelle a été la démarche que chaque atelier, que chacun d'entre vous a mis en place. Voilà. Donc on commence par l'atelier 1 de Ivan Mata, qui ne peut pas être là ce matin pour des questions personnelles. Donc ses étudiants et ses moniteurs aussi assureront le déroulement de cette présentation. C'est vous ? Je vous laisse la parole.
C'est lui d'abord.
C'est moi d'abord.
Voilà. Et si vous avez besoin de la...
Comment je fais avec ça?
Changer
avec ça.
Voilà.
Ok.
Voilà.
Ok. Ok. Bon. Venez, venez. Bon, du coup, je vais présenter en anglais parce que c'est plus fun pour les gens qui ne parlent pas français. So hello everybody, today we're going to present to you the Rethink Vernacular European workshop. So to begin with this workshop, we're going to talk to remind you a few things about the architect that founded the basis of the thinking of this workshop. So it's Coderch. It is one of the most celebrated architects in whole Catalonia, in whole Spain. So he worked in the post-war times, and he survived fascism because of his rationalism approach, exactly. But on the other hand, he managed to land this into a more human way of seeing architecture, and this is why his architecture is vernacular. Today we're going to talk about l'Institut Français à Barcelone. So there you go.
First, we had to focus on, let me land on the right page. We had to focus on why we had to work on that building specifically. Basically, it's a construction that is 50 years old at this point. It was built around the 70s. To be precise, 74, it was delivered. It is nearing the end of its lifetime, and there is several pathologies that are happening on it. For example, the brick plate cladding that you have on the facade is breaking apart, falling. The window frames are not up to code and up to standards or actual standards for thermic issues. And there is also a lot of problem for sun intake because, as you can see, there's no way of shielding the facade from the sun. Why we focused on the southern facade is because it's the face of the building. It is what is shown first, what comes to mind first when we talk about that building. And it's also because it's being the southern facade, it's the most impacted by the sun intake problem, and also has the most windows to work on for being able to spread it for the whole group to work on. The restrictions and the restraints we had while working on that project were several. The first one is how to preserve the design elements that make this building special, what design efforts were made for that building, while trying to actualize it to make it fit more the issues of our time, the problematics of our times, while they could be environmental or economical, or even about the perennity of the building. And I call the next group.
So basically, the approach we took was the first part of the week we studied the building and the site, and then we got into the details to really understand what this facade made of. So we're going to be actually that all of the groups made a lot of very different attitudes about this facade. So here's the first group.
So hi, our group is called Timeless Bricks, and our proposal aims to maximize the reuse of the facade's bricks, but since they are very difficult to recover because of the mortier, our proposal is, since they are difficult to use, Since they are difficult to recover, they are repositioned in a more open pattern, allowing for the barrier integration into the facade, giving the building a new tone and pattern. Some bricks are fully cleaned to create a movable moucharabieh that we see there. And in front of the south-facing windows, and the building is insulated by the outside to eliminate the existing thermal bridges.
Kodak's project stands out for two key aspects. First, it's regular grid of the facade, and secondly, its flatness, emphasized by the windows placed flush to the outer face. In this project, the building's regular framework is preserved, and the bricks of the moucharabieh are aligned with the bricks of the columns, reinforcing this flatness while protecting the existing frame windows from the water.
Je dis que la présentation est en français ou pas? Hein? Je sais pas. Oui, oui, oui. Ah. Non, en français. Je commence. Donc pour ce projet repose sur plusieurs interventions visant à optimiser à la fois le confort thermique et la performance énergétique du bâtiment. Dans notre groupe, nous avons décidé de repenser la façade en reculant les fenêtres pour déjà avoir une meilleure isolation, obtenir une meilleure isolation. Cette nouvelle disposition permet non seulement de mieux protéger l'enveloppe du bâtiment, mais aussi une meilleure régularisation de la chaleur et de l'ensoleillement dans celui-ci. On a aussi intégré une protection solaire qui est également essentielle pour limiter les surchauffes en été. Donc nous avons travaillé sur la façade sud-est de l'Institut français. Nous avons donc décidé d'élargir les fenêtres, notamment dans les salles de cours. Cela favorise une meilleure répartition de la lumière naturelle. Vas-y, tu peux le mettre. Donc on a élargi les fenêtres pour une meilleure répartition de la lumière naturelle, réduisant ainsi les contrastes qui étaient trop marqués avec les anciennes fenêtres. Et donc cela aussi améliore le confort visuel des occupants. Ces ouvertures plus larges aussi contribuent à une meilleure ventilation naturelle. Et en fait, on est intervenu au centre, donc au niveau des salles de cours, avec une trame alternée sur lequel en fait on s'est basé sur les poteaux, les différents poteaux porteurs. Donc aux extrémités, on a gardé ces fenêtres et au centre, on est venu du coup les élargir pour du coup apporter une meilleure ventilation et lumière dans les salles de cours. Je ne sais pas si vous voulez rajouter quelque chose. Vas-y. C'est tout.
Donc pour nous, notre parti pris sur ce bâtiment, ça a été de le retravailler, mais à travers une seconde peau. Donc les problématiques de cette façade, c'était des menuiseries aluminium en simple vitrage qui avaient zéro qualité thermique. On a décidé de les conserver malgré ça et de refaire la façade en briquettes et de venir en fait protéger ce bâtiment à travers cette double peau en polycarbonate, avec soutenu par une structure légère métallique. C'était un choix de notre part de venir faire une intervention qui ne modifiait pas les concepts de l'architecte, mais qui venait un peu la réinterpréter de manière contemporaine. Voilà, donc comment est-ce qu'on a réalisé ça? Avec des accroches qui viennent supporter en fait cette structure de polycarbonate.
L'idée aussi, c'était de garder l'impression qu'on avait à l'intérieur du bâtiment, donc l'ambiance générale que l'architecte avait voulu donner lorsqu'on est à l'intérieur. Et c'est pour ça qu'on a fait le choix de cette façade. Donc ça permet sur la façade sud qu'en été, on puisse redistribuer la chaleur en partie haute et donc permettre d'avoir une meilleure isolation thermique. C'est bon. Il n'y a plus rien. Ouais, c'est bon.
Bon, donc nous, notre proposition, elle est assez simple, on va dire, dans le plan formel, c'est-à-dire qu'on ne va pas changer la trame, on garde exactement les mêmes ouvertures, sauf que nous, on essaye d'apporter un confort thermique pour l'été. Donc on va mettre des brises de soleil qui vont se cacher derrière une façade ventilée flexibrique pour garder un peu cette identité minérale de tout le bâtiment.
Alors le système du coup consiste en plusieurs points. On va s'attacher en fait à la structure existante, donc les poteaux en acier, et on va fixer d'abord une couche d'isolant sur lequel on va venir intégrer des fenêtres plus isolantes. On inclut aussi des panneaux coulissants, donc qui seront sur rail, et enfin les fixations des flexibriques, donc qui sont soutenues par des câbles. Et on intègre aussi dans cette façade une menuiserie de fenêtres pour rappeler l'identité de la façade, c'est-à-dire une façade lisse et sans accroc. Donc voici le résultat intérieur, donc avec les brise-soleil et sans. Je vous invite aussi à scanner le QR code qui a une vidéo qui présente le projet. Et il faut aussi savoir que pour notre projet, l'important était de conserver la façade sud, mais on en a profité pour prendre plus de liberté sur le reste du bâtiment et donc intervenir aussi sur la façade nord, ramener plus de lumière. On a ouvert la trame en faisant des fenêtres plus grandes, mais tout en respectant le rythme original. Et on a aussi rajouté des terrasses au nord et au sud pour rajouter du confort et pour apporter plus de lumière à l'ensemble de l'édifice.
D'où le nom du projet qui est Continuitate et Ruptura, ce qui est continuité et rupture en catalan, pour dire qu'on essaie de s'insérer quand même dans la continuité du bâtiment, dans cette essence, de prolonger sa trame, de suivre cette sensibilité, mais en même temps d'amener une rupture qui est plus à l'ère de notre temps. Et briser justement ce soleil qui rentre de façon magnifique avec cette proposition un peu technique. Merci.
Designed in 1972 by José Antonio Coder, the Institut Français of Barcelona today faces several challenges, including poor insulation, thermal binding, and the deterioration of the brickwork. Our goal is to preserve the existing framework while improving the building's thermal performance and overall comfort.
So we first studied the solar trajectories in both summer and winter to optimize the light and heat intake. So the challenge is to reduce the summer overheating while promoting solar gains in winter, all without altering the rhythm of the facade and the openings of the building structures.
Our strategy focuses on external insulation and the addition of double glazing. A brick cladding will be used to respect the original architecture style. Additionally, ceramic pivoting sunshades will help regulate sunlight throughout the year. When closed, they recreate a smooth facade, staying true to Codar's original intent. When open, they generate a dynamic play of lights.
The project maintains the building rhythm and materiality while introducing more energy-efficient and durable elements. The removed bricks will be reused on the roof and also some furniture inside the building, and the colored ceramic sunshade will create an evolving perception of the facade, referencing Coder projects Las Cocheras. Sorry. This intervention redefines the facade by balancing thermal efficiency, respect for the existing architecture, and contemporary expression.
Ah, on a passé notre... Ah ouais. Pardon. So if I were to translate the title, reuse the past, airing the present, and closing with finesse. As I said, the project was to adapt the heritage of this building to the contemporary problematics and different issues. And what the first thing we did in the project approach was to find out what we wanted to keep, what is to change. And the first thing we wanted to keep to respect the architecture is as my colleague said, the very smooth facade that was designed. This plane that was generated with the design work, and also the interior perspective of the interior part of the facade, which is this kind of like column system that brings softness and smoothness to the interior. The approach is a very reuse-based approach. We replace the failing brick cladding and dismount the existing one to reuse it to build with aluminum metal frames, a sunshade, a sliding sunshade, to might as well protect from the sun at its zenith, and in the morning and in the evening when the sun is very low, when it's pushed on that side or that side of the window. For the windows themselves, we replace them too, while also adding a layer insulation by the exterior of the facade. And we reuse the old windows to put them on the inside walls of the rooms that are on the facade to make these rooms more transparent to light and to ventilation. It's also a way of making a reminder of the external facade in the interior of the building, and to have a more cohesive and overall approach of design. Thank you.
Okay, so in our project, we wanted to address the question of how to integrate the vernacular architecture into a modern design. And our project began with the idea of a double skin facade to renovate the existing building, as it lacked insulation today. And so we wanted to create a system that would provide an insulating effect, and especially since the brickwork outside was falling and deteriorating. And to add dynamism to the facade, we, in contrast to the smooth existing facade, we developed this curtain system that enhances the facade's character. And so these designs bring movement to the facade, and which breaks the rigidity of the existing structure with a flexible veil. And the manual opening allows users to interact with the building and the space, adjusting the light and the privacy while preserving its identity. So we added a 6 centimeter of insulation to the existing building. We first removed the brickwork, and then we added insulation, and then we re-added the brickwork, the existing brickwork, and then we replaced the window system to double glass system, and then we added this curtain system with 30 centimeter of gap between the facade and added the curtain. Okay, thank you.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. Does someone have some question? You have some question? No? I think it's clear. Okay. So we can go further with the other workshop? Is one of yours? Yes. Okay, the second workshop.
Il n'y a pas notre workshop.
Vous êtes dans
Teams. C'est dans le deuxième.
Je sais pas c'est qui ça. Ouvrez-le. Non, parce que ça c'est Ivan Martin. Là, c'est caché. Là.
Un truc rouge. Sinon, je vais bien me connecter, mais.
Ouais, je pense que c'est mieux. Ouais.
Je suis genre très à l'aise. Non, de ouf.
Okay, good. Yeah. Hello. Let me introduce you our workshop, which is called Beyond Conversion, Designing for Life Cycle Energy Efficiency and Build Legacy Adaptive Reuse. So our workshop is all about energy. So it was the question like how can we change life cycle energy in a process of renovation of buildings. So we analyzed 3 post-World War II buildings, one in New York City, one in Milan, and one in Sao Paulo. The first one, so it's my group, 180 Water Street in Manhattan, New York, was built in the 80s and renovated in 2018. And the first part was to redraw this building.
So yes, as he said, it's offices building that have been transformed into apartments. So it's a real problem about, for example, this particular building is very, it's a lot of space between the end of the building and the facade. So we start by analyzing the project that has been created on this building, and it was to create an empty space in the middle that really doesn't bring nothing, just ventilation. And then we had to calculate all the embodied energies and the operational energy. That is basically the embodied energies is when you construct a building, so it's on a short time period, and the operational energy is all the energy you use per year, so it's on a much longer period. And after we have to do it the same for the new construction that is on top.
So this is one of the 2 projects. here. So the idea here was to recreate a hole in the facade in order to get some lights in the core of the building, because it has only 3 facades, and recreate ventilation inside of the apartments. And also the apartments are tinier than the old ones, because the old ones are like for rich people, and now it's like for like students or things like that. And we didn't do like a straight hole, because we wanted to have access like to exterior places, so where we can have vegetation and all that. And yeah, this is it.
And the second proposition that we did is something to keep the idea of the empty space in the middle, but give it a real importance by creating more empty space that are still inside the facade with the same, keeping the actual facade of now and just replacing the glass and the panels where it's apartments. So it gives a bit of identity, keep a bit of the identity of the original facade, and in the same way created some empty space for communal gathering or for communal space.
So then we worked on Torre Galfa, which is situated in Milan, in Italy. So originally the building has been built in 1959 by Melchior Bega. So it was only offices and markets on the basement. And then it has been rebuilt by BGK Associati in 2024. And they changed the program into hotel and residential, and try to open the basement more into the city than into the tower. And
So we had a critical redrawing phase where we tried to analyze for the new design what was kept, what was lost, and what was added. And so to signify that in the drawings, we used the black, yellow, red code. Black is what is existent and kept, yellow is what is lost, and red is what is added. And we also analyzed the different layers. So we have in this drawing, from bottom to top, we have the site, the structure, the skin, the system, and the space plan. And for the work for the new design, so they redid the whole facade and also changed the vertical circulation, adding stairs on the outside of the building for the residential parts. And
so in terms of carbon, we, as the same group, we first analyzed the embodied carbon, which means what it has been used for the construction, and then what is used for the operational part of the building. So we can see that the original building is using a lot of carbon, especially in the operational, because mainly of the thermal loss. And so the new building, the new operation adds a lot of carbon emission because of a new structure and a new facade made in metal, so it really consume carbon. But we can see that they reduce a lot the operational energy, which means that it doesn't need as much heating and cooling as before. That's why they did a better job than the first one. So after we did 2 proposals to try to reduce even more the embodied carbon and the operational carbon of that building. So that is the first proposition. We worked on shadowing the facade in the south. so that we could lower the cooling necessities of the building. And we redrew the plan, because at first, as in New York, we only had a very rich apartment. So we tried to design a smaller apartment, more affordable, and using more the space that we have. We had to change the whole facade as the project that has been made in 2024. But we tried to do it in a lower embodied carbon, which we made it. And but then for the operational part, it was quite hard to reduce more than what has been made by the BGK architect, because they were really efficient in terms of energy, but we still managed to reduce the cooling need. And the second group worked on another way to reduce the operational energy needs.
So to do that, for the second proposal, we imagined a mixed-use building with mostly residential. So we have co-living apartments and basic housing, and other uses such as co-working spaces and restaurants on the top of the tower. So we mostly worked on the skin to make the building more efficient, and for that we designed facades with less surfaces of glazing, because that was the core of the problem for this design. So we used wood panels to replace some of the glazing surfaces, and added mineral wool for insulation, because that was lacking in the original design. And we also replaced the double glazing of the facade with triple glazing to make it even more, to have a better performance. And so, yeah.
And so we can see on that diagram that the less glazing option is better in terms of operational carbon. But of course, the best would be to combine solar protection and less glazing, so that it would have better performance in the heating season and in the cooling season, because one is good for cooling and one is good for heating. Thank you.
Okay. So Metro Arquitectos is responsible for the requalification and restoration project of the Renata Sampaio building, which is an icon of Sao Paulo. Originally designed by the architect Oswaldo Bartocal in 1956. It's part of a complex of 3 buildings designed by the same architects. So along with the landmarks such as Copen and the Old Hilton Hotel, Renata Sampaio Ferrara is part of a group of 6 buildings listed in 2012 by the Municipal Council for the Preservation of the Historical, Cultural, Environmental Heritage of the City of Sao Paulo, from the so-called modern Sao Paulo, an urban complex of great historical and architectural value in the center of the city of Sao Paulo. So Renata was inaugurated in 1956. It's marked as by a strong residential production, so highlighting the Morumbi residence of Maria Luisa and Oscar Americano in 1952, which currently houses Oscar Americano Foundation and the Jesituba in 1942 and ABC in 1949 buildings, also located in Villa Boac.
So the Renata building has been transformed into a new and vibrant cultural, gastronomic and residential complex, which uses that include apartments ranging from 96 to 240 meters square,
for short to long stays, restaurants, bar, cafe, and event space, as well as leisure area on the middle floor. Also accessible to the public, the swimming pool, the only visible intervention, reinforces the transformation of the building through a playful program with the landscape of downtown Sao Paulo as a backdrop. Installed about 300 meters from the Republica subway station on the corner of Major, Centurio, and Aurora streets, the building is a valuable remnant of Sao Paulo modern architecture and the legacy of one of its great masters, Osvaldo Brecht.
Renata was established itself as the new meeting point in downtown Sao Paulo. The building has space for events, exhibitions, meetings, and more. And during the retrofit, Metro added common areas which do not exist in the original project. So now Renata is complete with a gym, sauna, and swimming pool, and the latter with a privileged view of the Koppen building.
The dining part is also well taken care of. On the pool floor, visitors and residents can check on the Parador restaurants, which start at a summer pop-up but continues to operate at a full throttle. With good food and swimming pool on sunny days, Parador also offers musical attraction and DJs to liven up the atmosphere. The hollow elements, which define the building design identity, remain preserved in the architectural project. We can see it here. So these elements remain preserved in the architectural project by Metro architects. An important improvement adopted by the retrofit was the installation of frame received from the breeze block facades called Scobogo, resulting in a sunny and multifunctional intermediate balcony space for residents. The existing building has a carbon emission of around 5 million for 65 years, and for the adaptive reuse, 810,000.
So for the first design, Group A, we decided to focus on the first and second basement floors. In fact, these floors are very deep and spacious, so perfect for office spaces. Our intention is to encourage a mixity of housing types. So we added a number of student apartments and common areas to make them get together. The student apartments then follow a linear logic following the shape of the previous structural shape. So in order to provide the new houses a better quality of life, we've chosen to extract part of the two floors. So basically here we cut out part of the floor to be able to basically ensure ventilation through the ancient moucharabier. And concerning ventilation, we also changed the glazing to make it more, to reduce basically thermal loss. And so furthermore, we redesigned both roofs to create communal rooftop terraces for the residents. So providing shared outdoor spaces where they can relax, study, and socialize. And our renovation approach aims to integrate modern functionality with the building's historical character, creating a sustainable and vibrant living environment for the future residents, while also maintaining a strong connection to its cultural heritage.
So for the Group B, we focus on several key improvements aimed at enhancing both the building performance and its environmental impact. One of the primary updates was the replacement of all the glassing through the building. This was done to significantly improve its thermal performance, reducing energy consumption and making the interior more comfortable for its occupants. The new windows provides better insulation, ensuring that both heat in winter and cool air in summer are better retained, contributing to the overall energy efficiency of the building. In addition, we added an extension here to the west side of the building. This new structure is designed to serve as a garden promenade, providing much needed space for residents and visitors. This green area not only improves the aesthetic quality of the surrounding, but also contributes to the overall environmental benefits of the project. We also undertook an extension on the west facade of the building itself. Here, this extension is designed to house winter garden, which are an innovation feature that offers both natural light and ventilation to the apartment. These spaces are not only visually appealing, but also functionally enhance the building's sustainability by allowing for better airflow and reducing the need for artificial lighting during the day. Concerning the carbon footprint for this new design, the original operational energy is almost divided by 7 with the design we imagined, if we consider the original 65 years of use. Both of these designs play a role in creating a more sustainable, functional, and aesthetical pleasing building, balancing the need of the residents with the goal of environmental responsibility.
So Metro architects succeeded in their intentions for an eco-responsible renovation and received the positive feedback that they wanted. So in 2024, the firm received the Monocle Design Awards. The award is a celebration of the British magazine of the same name for the world design, and the Renata building won the best retrofit category, with Metro's partners being the only Brazilians on the list.
A last word about, it's the end of Sao Paulo, you can applaud if you want. And a last word to conclude, in the exhibition, if you want to have a better idea of what represents the amount of carbon in each building, we made more visual explanation with the bricks. So one bricks represents 250 tons of CO2 equivalent. So you can have a visual aspect of the amount of carbon involved in each tower that we presented. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we can go with the group 3, workshop 3. Yes, yeah, which is the presentation? Antonio. No, but you are beautiful, you can come. Okay, so we'll speak.
Okay. C'est social housing d'abord. Ok, d'abord, ouais. Voilà. Ok, comment ça marche? Juste, je dois appuyer sur les flèches pour les demandes. Combien on avait? C'est le vôtre en plus d'abord. C'est pas grave, j'introduis après.
Hello. So our workshop project was split in social housing and also in the work on bunker. In Germany we have Plattenbaum. There are buildings which are made by different prefabricated concrete elements, and they are not really social interactions, so we worked on this. And also they are not really interesting on energetical efficiency. So we'll speak about social housing and after about the bunker.
So the social housing buildings today lacks identity and integration into its context, and does not offer a living environment conducive to exchanges between residents.
So we are presenting a project structure around 3 principles that redefine the way we live together, adapt our homes to evolving needs, and envision architectural sustainability.
On the first point, fostering social connection with spaces designed for community. We have envisioned a building that goes beyond mere housing. It actively encourages interaction. The ground floor is designed as a porous space where residents and neighbors can meet through open access shops and services. 3 levels of shared space shape this dynamic: public areas directly connected to the city, semi-private spaces fostering social interaction among residents, and an hybrid third place that balances intimacy and openness.
Also, common areas have been designed to be multifunctional, so this adaptability ensures a living environment that continuously meets residents' evolving needs. And the last point is the resilience. So architecture must be a tool for sustainability. So we have chosen a self-supporting facade which minimizes construction impact and allows for future modification. And the residents can personalize their spaces as they want with different configuration. So this approach permits to reduce costs, extend the building lifespan, and ensures long-term adaptability without excessive constraints.
And the second point is designing an evolving and adaptable habitat. Our project integrates flexibility from the outset, enabling spaces to adapt to different resident profiles as families, students, senior, or intergenerational co-living. Movable partition, modular extension, and reversible shared space provide a wide range of uses without requiring major renovations.
So, yes, it was the first group who taught us something on social housing. So, about for the second group, we choose to speak about 2 subjects, like to split our project into subjects. The first one is socializing, social interactions, and sharing, and the second one is energetical efficiency. So about sharing, we kept in mind that we want to bring to people's common spaces, and we choose some corners in the building for common space, which are connected by vertical axes. And also we change typology of apartments, so we have diversity in those apartments. Some apartments are biggest, some smaller, and in some apartments there are family who can live, and also they can be
collocations, yeah. And also these apartments and some rooms are connected by our structure that we add on the north of the building. So this structure is made by 2 spaces. The first one is a winter garden and the second one is balconies. So how about the winter garden? It's a space for meeting each other and meeting our neighborhoods, and also it's interesting because on this space can be closed and open, so it's interesting for environment and energetical performance. And that's why they're on the north side, because there we have a good light but not direct sunrises, and also it's interesting for don't losing energy. And on the south part we choose to put mur trompe, so trompe well. It's a well made by different parts. So the first part is a concrete well for keep warm, and after we have a space for air circulation, and also the last part is a glass, like a window glass, and this construction is a good way to use sunrises and heat up spaces by sun and not by ourselves. So yeah, and now we'll speak more about the bunker, which was under our Plattenbaum.
To go with the extremely tense political climate, it is not crazy to assume that the governments would respond in a similar scenario that the one we have been working on in this workshop, which is building bunkers. But we can't forget everything we learned from the alarming studies about the ecological impact we have, especially when doing architecture. So we tried as much as we could to have a sustainable approach when designing a bunker, which is quite challenging. So building a bunker is building a shelter, so it's just in case. And what we tried to do with my group is we tried to expand the functions of a bunker for a daily use. So at the core of our bunker, there is a 4-floor aquaponic farm with a ramp circulating around to connect 2 floors of dorms that are used in time of peace for emergency shelters. And on the other side, the common area was designed and thought also for a nightclub because, well, because of Berlin. We also tried to mix materials. We kept for the shell the armed concrete for the structural efficiency. And we also tried to use wood and dirt for the inside structural elements. Yeah.
So with my group, we imagined 2 scenarios. In the first scenario, we are living in a time of crisis. War has returned to Europe, and in this state of emergency, architects face a critical responsibility, designing shelters that can protect civilian populations. So how, as an architect, do we respond to that demand while keeping in mind all the contemporary problematics, such as sustainability? In the second scenario, decades have passed, we are like 100 years in the future, and war, born from a chain of political and governmental failures, has reshaped our world. What was once a temporary crisis has become an inescapable reality. Life on the surface is now completely out of question, and survival depends entirely on adapting to this confined artificial environment. This scenario was made to make us all question about the direction we're taking. Is it really what we want for our future? Can a bunker ever be sustainable? Is it only sustainable if it never has to exist in the first place? Thank you.
So the main question with building a bunker is it actually sustainable? And what we concluded was, in order to, because we put so much material resources into building a bunker, the only way to make it sustainable would be to make it useful in peacetime and not in only a hypothetical scenario where there's a war that would lead people to go to a bunker. So we created a bunker that used, in peacetime, platforms to create an atrium. And in wartime, those platforms would be moved to create a more dense military-style bunker.
And like that, the different spaces can be adapted, and maybe like a basketball court can become a medical facility, or a cinema can become a daycare. And we wanted also to make the bunker sustainable by using geothermal energy. Not for electricity, because to use it for electricity, we need to go really deep into the ground, and it's not possible with the scale of the project. But we would use it for the heat and make and use it for the outside surface buildings. And also we thought of harvesting rainwater and filter it with a biomimetic system, which is aquaporine. It's a protein that is found in the nature.
So, as it was already said, bunkers are often seen as dormant spaces and costly to build, hard to maintain, and rarely used in the times of peace. But what if these structures could serve a purpose beyond emergencies? By reimagining their function, we can turn them into valuable assets for both security and sustainability. To do so, we propose repurposing it as a hydroponic farm when not needed as a refuge. This concept maximizes infrastructure efficiency, as in the water supply, water management, lighting, ventilation, and energy can support both plant cultivation and human habitation. The dual-use design allows for regular maintenance, agriculture profitability, and the seamless transition between function through modular adaptations. By merging security with productivity, this approach transforms a survival space into a resource that contributes to daily life, and proving that resilience and sustainability can go hand in hand. And I'm not going to explain further our project itself. You can go immerse yourself into a real-life bunker in Cell Expo later. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So, go with the fourth group.
Dietro questa qui? Prova ad aprirla. No, aspetta. Vuoi andare giù? Vedi un po'? No. Non è questa.
Ok, no, ma possiamo farle, sì, sì. Tanto vabbè, ci sono delle foto delle materie tick, ma...
No, mettiamola su. Mettila su Teams.
Tanto l'abbiamo da Teams.
Mettila su Teams. Non modifica. No. Cosa vuoi fare? Non ho capito. Puoi mettere direttamente quella su Teams. Vuoi che facciamo passare il computer davanti?
No, ma possiamo andare di là.
Ok.
Ci stanno alcune foto delle materie tick, ma...
Ok.
Aspetta.
Oh. Not this one. Fa vuota questo.
Faccio così?
No, lo devi scaricare. No, devi scaricare. Okay.
Just a brief introduction. Hello, everyone. Great to see you again. So a very brief introduction about our workshop called Tracing Biographies. And so what we did, as a very introduction, we started from exploring materiality and this sort of research question of what materiality does mean for you. So we're starting going to the materiotech and analyzing the materials and which kind of also features we would like to enhance, considering the life cycle, the material culture, and also geopolitical features that characterize the use of construction materials. So I leave the floor to colleagues, and yeah, thank you.
So after choosing the material, each group had to do case studies. Had to choose, make case studies. So the case study was to comprehend, comprehend better the material, to see its applicability in architecture and give it a scale. So we each group researched its material with a project, an archaeological site, and we concentrated on the process of the material, how it's used traditionally, and its significance in culture. So that way we could understand globally the material and really see what it is and what it can be in the future. So here are the examples of each group and each case studies.
So after this introduction to our materials, we could start gathering information about it. So we had to choose one of the accents that was said before. So cultural weight, research on the geopolitical impact, or the life cycle. So each group had to look at it on a larger scale and to see the whole pictures, and not be already really that precise in the material to be blocked. This way, each group developed different methods, so gathering information by doing some mind maps, gathering information by collecting data on Excels, on Miro board, writing in notebook, trying to do this with a history. So we went to the information by books that are on website and material tech. So this part of the process also allowed us to think about the shape of our presentation. So we could start express all the complexity of those information we found and try to give it a shape.
And working towards the final result, it was important to keep in mind that a diagram should be easy to read and easy to understand. So the visual representation was a crucial part of the process and the final result. And as you can see, the wide variety of materials has resulted in a lot of different graphic representations. Through the graphic design, each group has communicated the most important aspects of their material and certain themes that they wanted to highlight. This meant that a hierarchy of the different information was a key element in each diagram. Some of the categories highlighted in the diagrams are the scientific data, the consequences of human interventions, the different capacities of the material, its life cycle, and lastly, the future that holds for each material in today's architecture.
And to connect it to the future use and application of the materials, each group did a second panel where they exposed some sketches, some references coming by architecture references or art or anything that was connected to the material. And we can see that the different applications and textures of the materials also shows the different perceptions that we have of each material. So you can also see all the panels exposed in the experimental and exposition space downstairs. So yes, all the graphics are very different. We have collage, we have sketches, we have more scientific ways of visualizing the materials. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much. So with the last group, last workshop. This one? This one. Download.
Voilà.
Hello. So our workshop is a hands-on workshop. We had to create tiles shape using 3D printing. For creating the tiles, we had to use raw earth, mud, and agricultural waste, and exploring an eco-friendly alternative in construction. And the workshop was aimed to provide an immersive hands-on exploration into various natural materials and geometrical freedom through digital fabrication and drawing inspiration from traditional patterns and exploring speculative geometries across different scale. And the aim was to envision a potential future for architectural products and discussion to fabricate, to test the limitation for the fabrication, the drying times, and the hydrophobicity. So we have a different project starting by this one.
So my team and I had worked on the concept of the tomate. So historically, the tomate is a terracotta tile that is traditionally made. It became more popular during the 16th century due to the development of handmade textile. It's distinguished by its orange-red color square shape. Today, thanks to this workshop, we try to put the tomate in the first place, but with bio-sourced materials and with know-how artisanal. In the first time, we designed a mold, very simple shape, inspired by the original shape of the tomate. But so the mold has a chamfer on its bottom to obtain an angular shape once unmolded. Once the mold was obtained, we focused on the color that we were going to use. In order to offer a different color, we use natural dyes such as charcoal for black, bejois for red, blue pigment, or turmeric for yellow. So in addition of the tints, we create some patterns of the tomate using flower or different plant fibers such as hemp, straw, or rice husks. Once the ingredients are gathered, a first matrix is created to know all the dosages. Then we created another matrix for adjusting the ingredient. For example, we noticed that the sifted earth had a better hold. And finally, we created a final matrix to understand how the dyes reacted to different vegetable fibers. It also allows us to have a final overview of what it could make. And here the result. So everything is exposed in the showroom, but here is some pictures of what it could be in a real kitchen with different design. Thank you so much.
The second group, so we worked on a project that we called Raw Waves, and we were a group of 5 people, which everyone has different skills, so it was interesting to just collab. And for the concept, it was, we went from the fact that there are 160 tons of, 1,000 tons of coffee grounds which are produced every year in France. And so this is a resource that we could use maybe to make tiles, decorative tiles. And it could also give it like, it could give decorations that could appeal the sense of touch and smell, which was interesting for us. And also be more sustainable and also taking into account waste management. And also coffee grounds has some, could also stimulate senses and absorb strong odors, so it has really good properties for not only decorative tiles. So for the organization of the week, we thought it was interesting to show you. So on Monday, it was all about designing, finding the concept, brainstorming, sketching, and also starting to design the mold. So Tuesday, we were able to firstly to try the first 3D printing, and also completing the design and beginning to establish the components list. So on Wednesday, we could make the first matrix and finish trying our first mold experiments. On Thursday, it was for us finalizing the mold improvement, searching for the final recipe, and starting the production. And on Friday, it was all about finalizing production, both production and presentation for today. So for the design part, the idea was that with only 2 patterns, we could have a lot of possibilities for composition that could really embrace every kind of interior or every concept that was that for the clients could be thought. And it's inspired by the flow of coffee and all of these organic lines. So for the making of the mold, we went from the first one, which was in 4 pieces, to the final one, which was in 6 pieces. And we did like the clumping in 3 pieces, so it was easy for us to unmold. And also we just had to reduce the thickness of the tiles, imagining we could like put it on walls. And so for the experimentation part, we did, like, as he said before, first matrix, testing fibers proportion and water proportion. And then it takes us 6 tests to finally find the good recipe, which is this one that you could see in the expo. And so for the tile fabrication, we wanted to show like 6 pictures of the different steps. So at first it was the dosage of components, then we had to handly mix materials. After it was the mold assemblage and preparation. We had to model like the preparation inside of the mold, then compact it with a press and mallet, and finally unmolding it. And so it takes more or less 24 hours to dry. And the final result, we had some tiles that you can see in the exhibition, made out of clay and earth, 27%, 20% of water, 18% of coffee ground, and 8% of hemp. And you could also like smell it and touch it if you want in the expo, because it smelled coffee. So it was finally very fun. So thank you.
Hello, everyone. During this workshop, we had to create tiles made of earth, clay, hemp, and water. We need to ally the old technology alongside the newest one, such as 3D printing to create molds. And reading the book L'Art des Motifs to help us to understand how we can create certain tiles. We were first inspired by the Tekla house, which is a 3D printed house, as well as kaleidoscopic IV, that inspired us to create something that disorganized and yet very precise. The first idea took the shape of a kite with a periodic composition. It created an optical effect almost like if it was a wave. This pattern, the kite, is found within our second idea, a form that was found by David Smith in 2023, and that creates an aperiodic composition, meaning that the composition won't repeat itself along the entire assembly. Within that shape, we tried different surfaces effects. And we questioned as a possibility of drawing on the surface of each tile, allowing the water to fluctuate if the style were to be used in a wet area. So in general, in order to create raw earth, we need the following ingredients: so earth, clay, hemp, and water. On the other side, we need to print the mold that we allow the ingredient mixed up together to take this shape. So this is the explode mold. In order to find the right mixture, we created a board that would allow us to test different compositions. One side being the amount of water used, and the other the amount of fibers. We then made the other test by adding clay to the mixture, and we tried different granulometrics. it's difficult. Granulometries of soil to have a more solid brick. We decide to keep the following mixture, and it will allow us to create best composition for our shape. So these are the different color we test, and that's the final composition. Thank you.
Quelqu'un peut appuyer. Je peux appuyer. Ouais. So with my group, we designed modular pavers by using also natural materials like earth, clay. You can earth, clay, and plant fibers, and without cement. So for us, the challenge was to make them strong and adaptable while using a dry assembly system. So we designed. So. Yes, we created 3 interlocking shapes, a star, a cross, and a square, and by using 3D printing molds. And to improve strength, we made the bases thicker and to withstand the pressure. So, and after that, we created a testing matrix with different mixes by varying water and clay proportions. And this helped us to find the best formula for durability. And we added long plant fibers straw to increase the strength. So you can see here we have the straw, and it's here no. And combined with thicker pavers, this made them solid enough to work on. And using 3D printed, and by using 3D printing, we created a bicolor effect by adding charcoal to the mix with separators. And we also tested pigmented slip for surfaces variations. So this process gave us strong and visually unique pavers. And if you like to experience the materiality and resistance, we invite you to go to the salle d'expérimentation. Thank you.
Okay, so our project is called Half Mule Sustainable Tile. So we are 4 in our group, and we came from different DE and also different architectural backgrounds. One of our idea was, so in the workshop we had to experiment with earth, but we also wanted to add a waste that we all have in common, that was paper. So 2 of our references are tiles made with wasted paper and tiles made with wasted clothes. So we went for the paper, also because we wanted to work with color. So for our molds, we went for a really strong base, because we were afraid it will break when we would use the hammer. And then we designed 2 different press to play with different design, like a positive one and a negative one. So we documented our week with photographs and videos. You can see the video in the showroom, but also with observation every day, so we can move on the next day. So the first day was we experimented full with paper. The second day was more paper and earth combined to search the best formula. On Wednesday, we made the test and the matrix, and on Thursday, we begin adding the paper and the color and how to put the color for the best results. And on Friday, we made the final bricks that are in the showroom, but we also wanted to go further, so we made different points where we could experiment or go further in our reflection. So how did we do it? We printed the molds, and then we went to the press room in the school to have the paper that was in the waste bin. We cut it and made like group of color. We made like a mesh paper with colors, so that's the final results. We had 12 different colors. And then we had to find out how to put the paper in the final mixture, not to get it too much brown. So we mix every dry component, then we add the color, and then we add the paper mash, not to be it too dirty at the end. You put the mold. On the mold, you had to put oil, and I think every group did it just to make the final results more smooth. You press it, and the main question for every group was also how we will dry it. So we made the final bricks on Friday to make sure it will be dry. So our final tiles is 250 grams, and it's 30% of clay, 30% of mixed hems, 10% of water, and then 30% of paper mache. So we worked on different patterns. One is exposed in the showroom. To find the perfect recipe, we tried different one. We made one technical card for each tiles that are exposed in the showroom, and we photoshopped some different patterns to have different visual. Thank you.
Hello, so let me present you the work we carried during this European workshop. So we started by our research by looking for references of bio-based materials for the flooring, especially raw earth and rice husk. Here are the references we analyzed. First, we analyzed the Pisé flooring of Chambéry, quite resistant with a significant thickness. Compressed raw earth paving, a rather promising setups, but the raw does not resist well if the pressure isn't distributed evenly, and the compression strength is lower. Rice husk has good insulating properties and low thermal conductivity. It also helps to strengthen a mixture. Based on these findings, we decided to create a raw earth floor with triangular-shaped tiles to test the durability of the earth at the corners. Our prototype is called Trilla, for Kai for scale, Trilla for both earth and triangle. The goal is to successfully make a triangular brick for a floor that can withstand several people, and to determine the limits of raw earth, how much raw earth can be used with the least amount of natural additives. Here is the proposed mixture: 15% of rice husk to use its thermal insulation properties and low thermal conductivity, 60% of raw earth, and 55% of clay. We decided to create a 5 centimeter thick brick to allow the earth to have better compression, resistance properties. The addition of a knock pattern was meant to understand and use the technical properties and speed of the 3D printer. The setup was done using a 3D printed mold.
So our matrix is based on the gradual addition of supplementary elements to the raw earth. We started by adding water, then rice husk, and finally barley straw and clay. This allowed us to fine-tune the proportions. The conclusion of the first day's testing was the rice husk doesn't provide as much strength compared to barley straw, so rice husk was discarded. Clay is necessary, but no more than 10%, and raw earth can make up 65% of the mixture for optimal performance. On Thursday, we continued refining the matrix with new mixtures, adding steps like sifting the earth through different sieves, and we concluded that the 1.9 millimeter wire gauge worked best. Compressing earth significantly to increase its resistance, and using linseed oil on the surface to fix the pattern, even though this weakened the overall brick. On Friday, we kept the best mixture from previous tests and added the pattern. Tests were also conducted with up to 35% clay, but the bricks were less solid. So finally, these are the 6 steps to create raw earth bricks for floor. We start by sifting the earth using the 1.9 millimeter wire gauge sift, and then we mix the composition. Then we compress everything as much as possible with a mallet. Then we apply the pattern with the mold. We paint the clay, and finally we assemble with clay mortar. So here is the final result. We succeeded in creating a raw earth floor with triangular bricks and minimal natural additives that withstand pressure. And now it's up to you to test it in the experimental room. Thank you.
So thank you. This was our work. You are invited to see the final result of our experimentation in the salle d'expérimentation. And you are invited to test and touch where you are taught to touch and enjoy the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for all the presentation. So the exposition will be open in this afternoon. So you have just some time to do the last works you have to do. Do you have some question maybe since you all you saw all the presentation today? It was the first day that you have the presentation, so just to have an exchange with the others, but no? Okay, I think we can say that we have finished for this morning. So we will see here at 2 p.m. for the last conference of the workshop, and then we will have just a moment for closing this workshop and European workshop, and then we will open the exposition. So see you at 2 p.m. here, and thank you very much.